Good afternoon. Good morning for you. I'm on the East Coast time zone.
Oh, you are not in California?
I'm in on the East Coast. No, I'm in.
Oh, okay.
How are
Yeah,
you today?
I am good.
Good, good, good.
Yeah, I'm tired of the noise in my house, but that's
It's
fine. That's normal.
it's progressing. It's starting to look
Yeah, it's really
good.
starting to look good. Finally, it's starting to look good. But it's going to take another 2 or 3 weeks,
Oh, good.
which is not. But we are leaving on Sunday, Sunday night until the 22nd.
Oh, so when you come back, it'll be done.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to buy the new appliances delivered before we leave or kept in the store for them to pick it up. This thing is so expensive.
Yeah, remodeling. Woo.
Yeah, it is. I'm just going to, and then taking equity loan right now, the interest rate is very high.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I still have to figure out it's better interest rate than, equity loan than the financing they are giving me. Is just like 11% interest. I don't want to pay 11% interest for, yeah.
If you can help it, yeah. Well, it's not for the faint of heart. I hope it turns out beautifully. It's a
It's
journey.
turning out beautiful, and I had to do it, by the way. I had put it so much aside. I had to do it. Yeah. But anyway, apart from that, it's fine. Yeah.
Good, good. What is on your agenda for today?
Uh, this is not even about, this is really self-care. Um, I had a very long conversation with my pastor, multiple things. First, I was approached by the past again. I just for context sake, as I told you last time that this is a community church founded by the pastor and his family.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that is the context. And so a lot of people has been feeling this is too family church, not community church.
Hmm.
And pe people are very close to me, and then other people who are not close, they just came to me because I had done I preached a sermon on the importance of community. So that was um and the importance of gathering as a community. And obviously I brought the Corinthian community. The whole ethos of the Corinthian letter is to unite a very divided community around. So again, you know the passage. I'm
Yes.
for Paul, I'm for Apollos, and I just anyway I preached that sermon. That
Okay.
was for the within also the context of the Lord's Supper in chapter 11, and the importance of community gathering as a whole, that the communion as a leveling ground for everyone, and the importance of the rich, the haves waiting for the have not before the meal. Anyway, I brought that to the context of division because I know there was really big time division in that church. So people came to me and they're like, no, the Christianity nowadays is performance Christianity. They're saying about the church. I knew it was about the church. It's performance. Sundays become a performance. Um, the pastor is never there. The pastor's wife is never there. And I told you that the pastor have 6 kids, so he goes to this game with the kids. So he comes once or twice 2 Sundays, and then he's very absent, very very absent in the life of the church, which is held together by us who are in the board. Without us who are in the board, this church would have disintegrated a long time ago. So, and then one again, the reason why I went to pastor, one of the members of who sings in the choir is she calls him her brother, but she's the niece. Not his the niece, no, cousin. She's cousin. She was married 2 years ago, moved to what is that city? Is that place? Oh, they played. Oh, I've forgotten. She moved away with her husband. Then she came back in December. So everybody was happy she came back. And because she sings very well. We say, Nikki, you are back. But then it is July, she's still there, right? This is the thing for us, that's a personal life, has nothing to do with me. I really don't care about it. However, the board, this church board is particular. And this is one of the things I told you that I have really been fighting it somehow because there's so much this ideology that if your marital situation is not okay, you shouldn't be having positions of leadership,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or if there's questionable character, you shouldn't be having position of leadership. That's been their philosophy and value systems before I ever got there. And I know that I've really many times been very vocal during board meeting that you have to realize the church is a place for imperfect people who realize they are imperfect before a perfect God who piece together their brokenness. The church is not a place for perfect people. If it was, none of us would enter the church door. And this criteria that they bring, because you have good people who cannot serve the board. And the board is made up of myself, Sister Judith, the one that is my vis-a-vis for my chaplaincy, pastor's sister, pastor's wife, pastor. This is the board.
Mm-hmm.
So in ordinary situation, they'll bring situation like that. Not that they're coming to adjudicate about her life, to ask the question what's going on. They do that for different people, but they've not done it for her. So there's so much noise in the church, and I hate that, because it's like Sunday we come, we sing, but I know there's so much noise asking why is pastor, even the husband is very close to me. The husband went through really trauma of that relationship because that relationship, as he says, is so controlled by pastor's mother, which she can be, really. But I cannot know details because really it's not my terrain. It's really, I only listen to him and I've been talking with him. He went through really traumatic relationship because our Nikki was beating him, right? And literally, there's domestic violence there.
So
And
the
he told me,
pastor's wife is Nikki the pastor's wife?
oh no, Nikki is a cousin. They call it the sister because
Mm.
Nikki's mother raised, pastor's mother raised Nikki from.
Got it. Okay.
So Nikki's father is pastor's mother's brother.
Nikki's
Nick
father is
is pas-
pastor's mother's brother. Got it.
right. So they are cousin. They are first cousin.
Okay.
But she
Right.
was raised by pastor's mom. So everybody knows pastor's mom like her mom. So that's why when I say the sister of, but the board, Nikki's not in the board, she's in the choir. So the husband called me and he was really distraught on Saturday. Like, how can you guys be leaders of the church? You've never asked any question. Is that okay?
Oh, wow.
You have not asked question. Nikki has been there since December. Nikki has given her own story, right? And this is the thing, Donna, is that if you see Nikki, you will never believe that she is a husband, I mean, abuser. You will never think that, you know. So I had said, hands off, it's their family affair. I will never ask if they don't want to say it. But if Nikki was just a member of the church, fine, I will not even ask. But because I'm part of a leadership team of the board, and
Right.
I've been part of that very leadership team that very minute issues have been brought to the board to discuss by the board, and this one they keep keeping quiet and keep creating that division in the church because they say, oh, because it's pastor's sister, therefore pastor is not doing anything. Then pastor's sister, Aled, who is very vocal, the one that is so hardcore about everybody else, one lady who is superb with kids. She will veto vote for her to teach simple Sunday school with the kids because she's living with her husband that she's not married to. So
Mm.
this is a toxic situation of that church. So I decided on Sunday when um the Nikki's husband contacted me again. I was talking, we were talking because she knew now that I'm doing chaplaincy. So he's been doing therapy. And he too, like Junior, I don't understand nowadays, these African people, they have problem with therapy. They just feel like their interrogation room is not helpful. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
when we were talking, he said, Dr. Alice, how come you guys, even you, have not brought this thing and discussed it with the board? How come the board is very quiet? I felt convicted, really convicted. So I sent Pastor a note and I said, Pastor, will you mind us meeting? Because I know the board is not ready for that, especially if Pastor's sister, who is in the board. I said, Pastor, will you mind? Pastor really I have very good communication with him. I can tell him anything. He trusts me in that domain. Would you mind me waiting after church? I would like to really talk to you. I said, can you give me 1 hour? So we need to really talk. So that was an opportunity for me to talk about a lot of things with Pastor. And I was courageous. I prayed God a lot because the fact that he doesn't come to church that much, he comes 2 Sundays a month. If one time he came one time. After that, he has no communication with any member. The members of the church are going through situation. He never communicates. He follows his wife has not been in church. Literally, the last time she came was for New Year Eve.
Mm.
He's not been in church. Before that, she wasn't in church. And pastor will preach sermons that okays that. And he preach sermons that makes it really worse. So when I met with him on Sunday, I said, Pastor, I said, I really want us to begin by really praying because I have something in my heart. My conscience is heavy. I really need to release it to you. And the only reason I'm coming to you is because of the trust relationship you and I have. And I think our church, the health of our church is in question a lot right now. You already know that the spiritual health of our church is not good. We really need to talk. So I started by bringing the issues around him not being in church. I said, Pastor, a lot of people have complained about you not being in church. And that is not characteristic of him. This man, when I went there, he wasn't like that. But apparently, he's been having also a lot of tension at home. And the wife is feeling, why is she the one taking the kids to all these games? And he is the one having the good name, the good pastor, not attending church. And I just said, for the health of the church, we really need to rethink it. I said, Pastor, I've never known you like that. I've
Mm-hmm.
never, which is true. I said, I do not know what is going on. I'm not coming to pry into your privacy matter, but I'm just saying, as a leader of this church, I felt compelled to bring this to you, and I will appreciate we have transparent conversation. We need to help our church and even have a meeting that can heal. We need to begin the healing process of this church. Otherwise, it will disintegrate. I said, when you invited me to this church, I'm Presbyterian hardcore. I came because I trusted. I came, watched the Sunday services for 3 weeks, and I trusted you as one called by God for this ministry. And that's why I have committed myself all these years. I've had urge to leave this church, but I have not left. I said, Pastor, you know that my value system is so different from the one of this church. And I'm not a full member, even though they put me in the board, because if by membership you say I believe in those values that the church, or I don't, a lot of it I do not. And you know that I've been very transparent about it. I say you have too much It's very stringent, it's exclusionary, and it makes there is I say because I keep talking about the Pharisees and the tax collectors' prayer. I say this church we act like the Pharisee. Look at me. I pray 5 times. I do this. Look at that tax collector over there. I use that analogy a lot. I said
Mm.
the tax collector's prayer is what we should pray. That we look at ourselves and say, "Have mercy on me,"
Mm-hmm.
because that is the position of anyone who goes to church and
Mm.
not the Pharisees' prayer. I said, when we and then I've been very vocal about that. I said, this church acts like the Pharisee. But anyway, so I brought that thing. He was very receptive, though. He really was receptive. And he says, my sister, because we really call ourselves sister, brother, and things. And I said, my sister, you do not know the battle I'm fighting. I'm fighting a lot of battle. And I can tell because he looks so, I mean, even his sermons, he comes on Sunday, sits there while praise and worship is going on and looking on his computer. I know that he wasn't prepared. And when he preached, you know he wasn't prepared. I said, Pastor, I've been observing. You are a very dynamic preacher. You are a gifted preacher. I know that. But
Mm-hmm.
I've been observing that something is really wrong. I said, Pastor, you don't even, you forget verses, and so I helped him to say, if you don't know the verse, you don't need to try to figure it out when you are preaching. You say you can just put general in First Corinthians or in John, but trying to give wrong verses, that is a problem. I told him, you don't know, just say it's in John it's mentioned. That's fine. Keep it at that. So he listened very well about that. I brought the issue. I said, okay, the big issue for many in the church is your wife never being in church. You know the African community in the Presbyterian church. Well, the wife of the pastor in the Presbyterian church who have been a member and still a member. She's there, but African mentality is this. I'm sure in African American too. The pastor's wife is called the first lady, and there is so much expectation put on her.
Mm-hmm.
That for us is unheard of that the
Mm-hmm.
pastor's wife is not in church.
Mm-hmm.
It's not been in church for so long. This is the 7th month. She came for New Year Eve. Before that, she never came. She will come to events like Thanksgiving. He will come, a sporadic event, she will come. I said, that is a problem. I said, Pastor Bryce, you have noticed, and which is true, other members in church who intentionally did not get their children playing sports on Sunday are now also doing sport on Sunday. Therefore, they are also not attending church on Sunday because they saw from you and your wife. And how could you invite people to value the service on Sunday if your wife is never there? And you too, you are also not there majority of the time. He kept really, really quiet. But I know he's receptive. I said, Pastor, we need to do something. I will hate for to see this community disintegrate. I will help. I say already people are using the term performance Christianity, performance Sunday, that we perform is hypocritical because what we do, we know what we're doing. So much noise is going on. Then I brought the elephant in the room, which is Nikki situation as a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
Ordinarily, I really don't pride in people saying, and for me, I will not do it. The only reason I'm doing it is because I'm a leader of the church, a member of the board, a member of a board within which they bring other issues to talk about. I said,
Right.
what's going on with Nikki? Nikki was here since December. This is July. What
Wow.
is going on with her? Nikki brought her child. That child is 3 years old. Took
Mm-hmm.
that child back and gave it to the husband. And she's here without her child. Everybody is asking. An African mother who carries her child go and give to a man. And then, because that is, again, this is culture. It's really about culture. I said, Nikki took that child, went and left it with the husband. I know because the husband talked to me, so I know they don't know that the husband is talking to me, and I keep it at that. How is there something going on? Is there something we need to discuss as a board? I said, this is not normal. People are making noise a lot. And people, you think people do not know, people know. There's a lot of stories going on. And I will not even bring this up if Nikki was not a leader in the church. She is in the choir. She leads choir every Sunday. And people are calling her thing now performance because they know what is going on. It is an issue that we need to address and address urgently so that at least for our own conscience, we know that we are equitable, that we are also discussing. I say, Pastor, to be very honest, I hesitated bringing this to you because it's family. It's your family. And now people feel that Nikki is your family. That's why you say nothing. That's why the board says nothing. So it's like all of us are accomplices because Nikki is your family, and she
Wow.
starts every Sunday
Mhm.
to to lead service. And I brought the issue. I said, Jolina, who is so competent with children, she loves children. We sat in this board, and you guys outvoted me that for her to teach the kids. For the sake of consensus, I would disagree, and you guys know vehemently I disagreed, but I respected the decision because it was a vote, and because it's a vote, I just leave it at that. But this, why haven't we talked about it? So it was emotionally very draining for me, and the thing which I say self-care is very important because Pastor, for the very first time, I'm beginning to lose trust because he tried to justify why they have not brought Nikki's situation. And I was very transparent. I said, Pastor, no, this cannot hold because I know what we do in this board. I said, we have brought issues which we have no business bringing here. We have brought issues of members who are just members of the church because they are members of the church. You are talking about a leader, a choir. She's the head of the choir. And he tries to excuse it because Pastor Two is afraid of his mother. The mother is very, I don't know. But his mother is the first one to give testimony in church every Sunday, you know. So people, even my mom, is like, what kind of hypocrisy is that, you know? Because anyway, I came then from that thing so drained. But I came out very peaceful because I released my conscience because I was feeling guilty. And Guy Maurice is the name of Nikki's husband. When Guy Maurice essentially challenged my conscience by saying, how come the board has never, because he knows that the board will discuss issues like that. For 7 months, the board said nothing. So I was so drained, really drained. But when I came back, I wrote to the board. I said, I'm soliciting a board meeting. We need a board. And because another thing, Pastor has been running away from the board meeting. He is fighting with his sister. And because of that, he doesn't want to be in the same room with her. But they're in the same room on Sunday. So when I came back, I decided, I said, no, I'm not going to let this thing slide. So I wrote to the board and solicited a board meeting because Sister Judy, the one you know, she's behind me. Say, Alice, you have the language to say it too, the way that will make Pastor, please get us a board meeting. And it's true that when I request it, we will have it, you know, because they know that a lot of the things they do, I just keep quiet and look at it and say, not all battles are worth fighting, you know, but this is a battle worth fighting because the church is disintegrating. So I had asked Pastor in the end of our meeting, I said, I hope that we can do something about you on for coming. I said, it will help members. And I solicited to him also. I said, Pastor Bryce, there's a lady who we have a list of everybody who is sick, everybody who is going through difficulties. We have that list, prayer list. So I solicited him. I said, Pastor, I have been doing a lot of calling people in the church. That's not my role. It's your role. I do it because that's just me. That's just who I am. But I feel, and I said, but then he brings up, he said, aren't you doing chaplaincy? Is that not a pastoral care thing? I said, no, Pastor, I was doing this before I started doing chaplaincy. I've always done it, but it is not my role. I said, it will be fantastic blessing to the church member when you just call them. Even if you call one person a week, it will be fantastic, wonderful blessing. You don't call, you don't check, you don't do anything. You come to church and then that's it, you know. And honestly, between you and I think he's just that money. He comes to ensure that he's doing the bare minimum to get paid, you know. So I'm really drained. I was feeling, gosh, should I quit this church now? But at the same time, I don't want to ever leave any place because there's problem. I don't feel like leaving. I have a lot of people in that church that trust me a lot. The work I'm doing with Thursday Bible study is fantastic. Is raising questions. People are willing, because again, it's this church, this kind of church. You say the Bible says it, I believe it settles it. So people felt they cannot question the Bible. They cannot ask real hardcore though, for fear to be seen as people who are not having faith. I think you understand what I'm trying to say. Um, Now people are raising questions. It's a lot of old wounds have been opened. People uh, uh, are feeling like, for instance, mental health. The mental health month. I did a session on mental health, and people were able to talk, and begin to realize how much Africa is damaging a lot of people, because it feels like when you say you have mental health problem, people see you as less spiritual. All the pastors want to do is pray for you and to exorcise that which so when I preach and normalize it and really help people to understand this is what we all go through. Thanks also to CPE. So I feel like that work is fantastic work. I don't want to quit. But let me tell you, when I came back on Sunday, I felt drained. And I'm still drained. I felt drained. I felt on Tuesday, I'm like, Alice, is this worth it? Is it really worth it? Um, and that's when I made that decision to write to the board and solicit a board meeting. So pastor is saying, oh, I'm going to look at my schedule. It's important. So he cannot escape it because he remembers that he knows why I want us to meet. Yeah. So sorry for taking so long to go around to explain the chaos of my church.
What did you end up doing for your self-care?
Yesterday is Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
I literally did not do much. I lay down. I told my kids I wasn't feeling well. I lay down in the afternoon. I had to take my daughter who had to do an entrance exam. I took her. I came back. I really didn't do my brain. I said today is rest. I did not do any academic work at all, and I took long now. And I was about to go for swimming, but I couldn't swim because took Donna this we came back late. But I didn't do much yesterday. I didn't do much yesterday. Yeah,
And what's your learning from, or maybe there's no learning from your conversation with him as much as there's a hope you have for this board meeting.
yeah. I
And
have hope there is going to be a board meeting. We cannot not have board meeting.
do you think it's going to resolve some things? Do you think what are you hoping for?
It might not initially resolve, but it begins transparent conversation.
Okay.
So that is the whole point. I want to invite us to transparency, and that and we also want to lay the issues, and it will give Sister Judy also opportunity to say her mind. She
Okay.
comes from the same French speaking area as them.
Mm-hmm.
So pastors is they have a kind of group, the Francophone group. I speak French, so I hang out with them. But Sister Judith is not someone who is she's a deaconess of our church, board member. She's a treasurer of our church too. But she she doesn't have when she's very mad. She will not get anything accomplished because she'll be way too mad for pastor to even want to
Oh.
listen. You
So,
know,
so in this board situation, you're functioning as a member of the board and a leader, not as a chaplain.
no,
You're functioning as a chaplain, not with the Thursday Bible study, but more with the individual sessions that you have and with that Bible study that you're doing with the small group of men.
the small group is really a healing. We call it Guy said it's a healing ministry.
Okay.
Guy said it's such a healing ministry because it's opening wounds. Hopefully, it leads to healing. So call their thing a healing ministry. But
And you're functioning as a chaplain in that healing ministry.
yes, for
Okay.
that particular space is functioning as a chaplain. Yes.
So I want to affirm your realization of, hey, I need to be proactive in my self-care. And
Mm-hmm.
self-care of exhaustion, when I reach exhaustion, I collapse.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the most proactive self-care.
Right.
One could begin to consider, what can I do to not reach exhaustion? But I'm glad you're at least acknowledging it and you're thinking about it. And I want to encourage you to be proactive, that self-care can be preventative of collapse. And I want to invite you to consider, it may be helpful to think about your boundaries and what's at stake in your sense of yourself, your reputation. Do you take pride in people thinking that you are responsible, you have integrity, you are knowledgeable, you are a leader? And does that impact your boundaries? You
Yes.
your conscience is pricked in part because of your titles and responsibilities. So
Mm-hmm.
how does that inform your setting of boundaries?
Of boundaries.
Because
Yeah.
you've identified that there's behavior of the board that's inappropriate, but you want them to be consistent in their inappropriate behavior. And people see you on the board as equal
Mm-hmm.
to the behavior of the board.
Mm-hmm.
Does that impact your setting of boundaries? So I want to encourage you to add some awareness around boundaries as a part of your self care in every relationship, in every single one, in every single one.
Yeah.
Just
Thank
ask
you.
the question, where's my boundary here?
Mm.
I- If you are open to it, I would love to revisit the healing ministry verbatim.
Please. Yes.
One of the two of the feedbacks that you received was it felt like church, right? And that
Mm-hmm.
you were being pastoral.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to hear if you agreed with that and what that means to you. I want to understand that better.
Um, and again, it is to be very honest, it will feel like that. That whole ministry thing started as church,
Mhm.
right? So the genesis of that whole conversation
Yeah, I
started as
remember.
I don't know from a Bible study. So
And I think the questions of boundaries in that is important too. What you
yes,
saw as your responsibility to fix, what you
right,
saw, this is something I must address. The same thing with the young lady. That happened in church. Now they come to me, I got to fix it. So again, there's boundary issues here. But go ahead. So I got it. It
right,
started.
right. No, no, I really took the feedback well because it felt that way. Let me tell you also, I don't like any form of injustice or I just I as I it was literally hard for me, first of all, to do
Yes.
that verbatim,
Yes.
because I've been one starting and standing up with marginalized. For me, I feel a deep sense of call and especially for me as um, a preacher and now being a pastor too, it is my understanding of the church and my whole philosophy of life is that I hate it when I see the church causing so much harm and perpetrating harm and hurting people. And that whole language that is being used by Guy and his friends, I have to listen, but it is tough listening for me. So you will see a sense of defensiveness, just trying to, for lack of better word, give it to him so he can understand. Um,
So pause right there for me. I think
mhm,
your description is accurate. That's how I experienced it, as
mhm,
defensiveness and you just giving it to him. Absolutely. And I felt you used your authority and knowledge as a biblical scholar
mhm,
to beat him over the head.
mm. I didn't understand to that depth.
And what I did not experience, and
Mhm,
again, I know we can't put everything in the verbatim, I didn't experience you coming alongside him. I
mm,
experienced you coming next to him with an agenda and presenting your agenda.
mhm,
And I think the invitation to understand where he is, you have um, decided where he is, and it reflects his tradition, and it reflects a biblical literalism that is selective and oppressive and harmful and hurtful to him and to others, and it's wrong. For
mhm.
me, I did not experience humility. I experienced your agenda and a heavy hand at articulating it. Now, I'm not saying we're not instruments of justice at all.
Mhm.
I just want to acknowledge it was I don't label that as pastoral.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think also is the mood also. I think he came. Oh, you needed to be there to see him. He came
Yeah.
armed to tear down the LGBT community. He
Yes.
came with so much when I said my heart was beating, my the way I was feeling, it,
Yes.
the way he talks about this community, the
Yes.
way I mean, he came so ready
To,
to show me why it is absolutely right that
mhm.
this community should be treated that way. I just
And
could,
you
yeah.
absolutely countered his
Yeah,
content.
I did. I did. Yes, I did. I thought I did it
I
better because, yeah.
You absolutely very well countered his content and annihilated his perspective and absolutely. What I don't know
Mhm,
behind the heart of a person who wants to tear down any people. What I don't know is the cost to him for being caustic. What I don't know is how he feels about even the content of what he is believing.
mhm,
What I don't know is coming alongside him. I get the content is horrific and you countered it methodically, you annihilated it. The person,
yeah.
I don't I did not feel like you assessed his need. I feel like you assessed his content, deemed it wrong, and set out to correct it.
Mhm.
But I don't know this that there was an assessment of his spirit.
Yeah, I think when you write verbatim, it doesn't couch. First, you have to do selective telling. Because in the end, though, one thing I know he kept very important for he says. like this week on Saturday we have the group. Um, he told me that he has been reading a lot of Genesis 38, and that he's been rethinking, and that he himself, he acknowledged anyway after that meeting that he was so um, he said, okay, you have to understand where I grew up and where I come from. It's true that I said a lot of things which I cannot put in verbatim about the LGBT community, um, but that you helped me, you know. I think also the kind of relationship I have with Guy, it really allowed me to be able to talk, to
Bound,
just, you know.
it's a boundary issue. You move
Right.
through lots of boundaries, and
Right.
I'm learning, I'm learning your cultural context that informs that fluidity. Your
Right.
auntie, your pastor, so I'm learning that. And that and so when I say I didn't experience, I'm owning it. And I'm realizing there's probably some cultural pieces that I don't have as well. In addition to the fact that you can't get everything in the verbatim.
Hmm.
And I want you to hear at the same time, I want you to hear the same boundary issues that inform your self-care choices is the same skill for the boundaries when you are going to be in the role of a spiritual caregiver. Now, I when you it's a different boundary. I
Right.
and that's
Right.
why I'm inviting you to at least perceive.
Mhm.
You may choose, and you have to, by your choose to shift things, but I want to invite you to be aware when you're
Right.
making that choice.
That's important. And I think that the awareness, and I think with Guy, that I need to be also aware is Guy doesn't, I'm not just his chaplain, I'm his mentor. And then his Bible leader. So he comes from me. So there is that this one that he calls it is a healing ministry, and which is said after our meeting that this is opening a process of real big healing from these normalized ways of thinking as an African man, the African context, because the African context is so harsh on the LGBT community, especially in Cameroon, they can kill you for just saying you have, you cannot use those words there
Right.
without really getting in trouble. So he sees that that's why he started to say this is going to be a healing thing
It's
for
true.
these
Yeah.
long years of normalizing, you know. And it's true that, yes, I couldn't, for me, um, with African persons, I know they are deep thought about the LGBT community. It's just like they are thought about women. Women is even better, I'm telling you. But with LGBT community, they are the sinners who are unforgiving for God, who go to hell, all of that. I cannot, that's where the boundaries for me become very blurred, that the emotional me is like, no, I won't let you continue to have these kinds of very damaging thoughts. And it's true also that he trusted me to go all out. That obviously I can't put in a verbatim. Respect that is a different cultural makeup of people. They're not Africans. I will not use those language there. He trusted me to go all out, but it's venom against the LGBT community that I'm like, oh no, 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 no. This is it. My pastoral had my church had, blurred the boundary of just coming alongside him without trying to correct some of this misperception, and or correct is a different word, but make him see beyond, because he kept on and on and on about, look at all this cement spill and blah, 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 that I could not bring Genesis today.
Unless I wonder if an earlier boundary, even on his content, directs him to a kind of conversation where you don't feel I have to correct, I have to change the way he's thinking. These are the things you're saying. I have to correct him. I have to change his thoughts. I have to change his perspective. That there's another boundary where you can stop. You can stop the onslaught of what is being spewed out, but
Right.
that may impact his trust of you. That may
Yeah.
impact how he sees you. And
Yeah,
those are questions I
absolutely.
want you to ask you. What is it that is operating within you that says, even though I cannot stand this injustice, I'm going into this place? Because that's not spiritual care. I want
Mhm.
you put yourself up to hear all
Mhm.
this abusive stuff and then you fix it and correct it.
Mhm.
That's not required. But what is it in you that says, yes, you trust me, so I'm going to let you go here and come on, and then I'm going to fix you. And that's what I have to do. And it's an act of justice, and I'm righteous in doing it.
The thing though is this is a blurring of spiritual care and Bible study and the outside is not pastoral care ministry, pastoral ministry. It is for Bible study. That's what I do. I help people understand the Bible. I help them see the Bible differently. I lead them towards that. That's what I do. So in that setting, it is a lot of it also correct. It is they come there with ideology, which we just read the text so that they can read. Because my whole point I'm making the church to do is learn how to read the Bible. So in that setting, I cannot say I'm not correcting. I am in
That,
some sense,
that's
right? Because I'm there as the interpreter, helping them, guide them as they read along. And
mhm,
so in this setting, the setting originates from that. So
mhm,
even though it is healing ministry, it's still Bible study. It is still doing the same thing I'm doing, except in a group of people who feel okay to say the kind of things they are saying without the church people hearing what they are saying. So
right.
I'm doing both. So I'm helping them towards that part of really a healing ministry of giving them the opportunity to on so what's it, no, normalize the quest to revisit this trauma, generational trauma of these ideologies, one on women, ideologies on gay community. So they're going through on their own masculinity. I'm giving them an opportunity to go there. And that is okay to go there, to become vulnerable, and that is okay to become vulnerable. But at the same time, that is pastoral care. But at the same time, this is a Bible study too, right? So being that the merge, the intersection between those two is very also delicate. And that's where my roles, my multi-dimensional role also is very porous and is creating those kinds of things that require me to think a lot how to navigate those dynamics.
How do you feel about those multidimensional dynamics of your leadership?
I think that comes a lot in when I'm dealing with somebody who is like in a church community, is that plays a lot of role for me, is that hyphenated identity comes into play. That it's hard for me to just be pastoral care. Like for instance, when I was talking with Guy, I was talking with Guy Maurice. I was talking with Guy Maurice without even realizing that is pastoral care. Because we talked about his trauma from this relationship, it gave him opportunity to open up about his therapy, that his sessions he's been having, but he's also talking to me as somebody he sees as a leader of the church. So I'm having this dual role also in that dynamic, you know. So I think it's hard that for me, my own pastoral care ministry becomes harder because of these intersections.
Do
But
you
when I deal with people who are not outside church, like Junior, the Junior is not part of my church, it's different.
church is different? Very good. So, what's the impact on your self care?
Um, oh gosh, I don't know. The, felt good yesterday. I really felt good. It was restful. My brain rested, but I
Yeah,
still feel the. Now you talk about boundaries. I also have to let Pastor do his job, even if he's not doing it. Because again, as I say, I make it a duty to call, check on people as part of the leadership team. That is exhausting me too. That is not pastoral care. That is, but that is part of.
that's part
I
of what
just right. I just found if I'm going to be a leader of the church, I better do the work.
you.
But that's not my job. That is pastor's job. Pastor is not doing it. Somebody has to do it. So Sister Judy and myself, we divide the people to call, and then when you call now, people obviously they will start telling you stories, which is again, then you have to pray with them. But that's really not my job, though. I know, yes, I'm a leader of the church.
So the boundary there is very fluid
Very, very fluid.
and exhausting.
Mhm.
And you have what I hear you say is you have multi-dimensional relationships with everyone, and that's very exhausting.
For me, it's more complicated.
Humans, periods. But absolutely, I get for you. And that multi-dimensional piece includes a lot of cultural things. And you're in a context where a lot that should be happening by leaders is not happening. All of that is impacting you. And
Mhm.
all of that is important for you to be aware of. And I think boundaries, self care, keep asking yourself, why do I feel like I have to do that? Is it true that I am the one that has to do this? And why? And I understand sometimes it's a justice issue and other things. Um, and I appreciate your openness to hear how my impression of the interaction as you described in the verbatim. I appreciate the limitations of a verbatim as well,
Mhm.
and I'm grateful for at least the space to talk about these things. And when I think about the Nikki and her husband, and there's some boundaries operating in there too, and you're on both sides of many lines, and I just want to offer that that is exhausting.
It is very, very, very exhausting.
And you come with a high standard. You don't come to not do, you come to pursue excellence. You come with expectations and commitments that are also not even the commitments that the community is fully embracing, but you come on, y'all, let's go. Let's try to get there. So this is a lot. And I just bring it to your awareness. And the I love the model. I'm exhausted, I take a break, and I'm affirming the proactive. I'm not exhausted, I feel great, and yet I'm going to do something else for my self care.
Oh, Alfredo is half his
Yeah,
just.
aren't you glad
Oh,
our
sorry.
time is up?
Sorry.
Hi, Alfredo.
Yan-
Hi, how are you?
Hello, how are
Alice,
you?
Alice feels saved, Alfredo. I'll see you tomorrow, Alice. Thank you so much.
Okay, I will leave you guys. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
have a
Donna.
good day.
Hello,
God bless.
Alfredo, Alice. Yeah, you.
Let me see.
Too early?
No, and you're okay. You're okay. Just give her a moment. She has to
Yeah.
sign herself out.
Come on, Alice. What are you doing?
Okay.
What is that leave button?
It won't let you leave. Uh-huh. No
Yeah,
boundaries.
it's...
I
Yeah,
bet.
exactly. Can you knock me out?
No,
Or
you stuck with it.
no, no, is there a way you can get me out? Oh no, no, no! I found it. I found it.
It's you. You have to do it.
uh,
How are you today?
I'm doing fine, thank you. How are
Good.
you?
Good. I'm good. I'm good. What did you
Nice.
have for our agenda today?
Excuse me?
What did you have? What do you have for our agenda today?
Okay, I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
The first one is the tomorrow is the the mid mid unit evaluation,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
But I noticed that it's different than the last semester because the update indicator tracking record. You want me to do the same as the final evaluation? The update indicator tracking record, because wasn't in the last unit. This point wasn't there.
Wasn't there?
No, you add this point there for this semester.
Which
So
tell me what was added.
it's you say update indicator tracking record is point number 5 and the mid evaluation
In the
midterm.
evaluation. Okay, let me look at it. I'm not. Oh, wait, can you put it on the screen or should I find it?
I don't have on the screen, I think so.
Let me find it. I think I have um the handbook. I'm gonna plug my mouse in. Okay. Why am I not seeing it? Oh, because maybe it's under downloads. Okay, I'm not able to open it. Why am I not finding it? All right, let me try this device. I'm gonna try one more device that I think might let me see it. So I'm on yeah, I got it here. Okay, handbook. Okay. All right, I got the handbook open. Let's see. Mid-unit evaluation.
Page 125.
Page 125. Okay, thank you. That's helpful. Scroll page 125. Stop. Where am I? Page. And you have a whole form, right? That's the goal writing format. Let me slow down. Mid-unit evaluation, 5.9.
Yes.
And that's what's for your level 2. Actually, you have both have the same. Everybody has the same mid-unit evaluation.
Yeah, because the last time doesn't have the point in the mid unit.
Right. And then you said there's adding number 5, upload indicator tracking record.
Okay, so I have to upload.
Do you know what the indicator tracking record is?
No, which one?
It's a document that Joseph sent you, and it is simply all of the outcomes for your level, whether you have addressed them, if so, how, or if you haven't addressed it yet.
Oh,
That's
so only mine.
everybody
Uh,
has one, but you only upload yours. Yes.
okay.
And it's what you've been doing every week. You know how you send in after
Yes, yes.
you create them, you do a couple of, it's that.
Oh, is that so? I have to use make update, download and make update. Okay,
There you go.
perfect.
That's it.
Okay, I know
Thank you.
exactly what I'm doing. Okay, I
Perfect.
just want to be clear. That's the only point I need to add because I have everything done yet.
Okay.
Are you already
Working on it.
doing all the middle evaluation? Just I have to add that one,
Okay.
and that's it. There is no weekly reflection and no indicator tracking record for this week.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So the second question, the book is gonna be for the next week, July 17th. And I have the book already. And I wonder if I can be the first one and read the chapter 1 and 3 to the third.
1 and 2.
1, 2, and 3.
Okay, let's confirm.
Okay.
Let's
I want. Uh,
go ahead.
I wonder if I can start reading the book and give the first presentation and be the first one.
Yes, you can, and you can be the first one. And let's confirm it tomorrow because
Okay.
I'm also going to give people an opportunity um, to choose their sections. And so no
Okay.
one chose 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
But
Perfect.
people will pick what they want to do.
Okay. All right. So, and then July 24th is my reflection. Okay, that's the points I want to just be clarified.
Okay.
That's all I needed for now. And also, I remember, I you told me in the beginning, the first class, I believe, I have to do some case study
You have to do a project.
project.
Yeah.
Okay,
You want to,
what is the guide for the project?
yeah, let's find it. Let me scroll through. So it's right after the mid-unit evaluation. It says
Of
510 is the
yeah,
case study.
case study. So I have to just get a topic and that's it because it has a lot of questions there.
What's the difference between that and your project?
I don't know. That's why I've been a little confused because the case study is 510, right? Page
Yeah,
126.
yes. It's 510. But your project is not a case study. Let's go to the level 2 project. What section is that? The level 2, where is that? I'm looking, scrolling through.
I don't see any level 2 project in there.
You don't? Okay. I have to go back to the table of contents because I don't know where it is. Let me find it. Okay. So 4.3. Okay, 5.18, the consultation for level 2 project, that's just the conversation with us that we have about it. That's all you have to do for that. And I'm looking for the level 2 project. Hold on. You would think it would be right there. Let me look and see. Okay, here it is. Okay. Hmm.
I think for this semester there is none.
Maybe for this semester there is no project. Maybe
No, I don't see it.
you don't see it on the syllabus.
No, I don't see it in the syllabus. I just have the syllabus in front of me and my
Oh,
phone,
I'm
and
looking at
and, and I
ham.
don't see it.
No, I'm looking. Oh, you mean you're looking at the handbook? That's what I'm.
Yes, and in my syllabus either there is no.
Hmm.
I've been looking at and I didn't find it. I looked the handbook and I looked the syllabus, and that's why I write down that question because
Okay, so look at 5.20, 5.20.
5 point. Okay, yes.
And then at the last paragraph, your contract should include your level 2 project and or area of specialization integrated with the outcome indicators form from your level 2, in your case level 2B.
What you say 5.2
Yeah, 5.20.
or 5.20? Okay, let me see.
So you should have had it in level 2A as well. Contract for learning goals, level 2A and level 2B.
Okay.
You see that?
Yes.
And so the first paragraph is as with level 1, the second says your contract, then the third says your contract should include your level 2 project.
Okay. Okay. Your contract should include your level 2 project.
And
Okay.
5.21 describes your level 2 project.
Five to one.
Have you so
Yes, I as in level 2, your 3 goals should be important to you on CPS. They should be quantified as much as possible.
so
Okay,
that yep, that's it. That won't be in your mid-unit. That'll be in your final evaluation. But that's the project that I was bringing to your attention so you wouldn't wait, too late to do it.
okay, yes, okay. This is level 2 project.
But you're right, you don't need it for the mid-unit evaluation.
I don't need this one, right?
Right. If you scroll down further, it gives you the question. This is for your final evaluation. What
Okay, level.
to project? Why did you choose this project? What was the time frame? What theories? All that kind of stuff. And you should have had it in 2A as well. You should have had one.
Okay, just I wonder where are the guides, the points I have to touch on the. in the project. You can help me to find out.
Let me keep scrolling and see if I find more information about your project. Hold on. Or specialty. That's good. So those are the questions. I don't see a description. Let me see.
Okay, I think I found out something. With say level 2 project or
Yeah.
specialty,
What what
say
what
say
section?
it's 5.21.
Ah, okay, I'm going down. Got it. 521.
Okay, the level 2 project, the last under the final evaluation is assess your progress on level 2. You have completed to date. This describe relevant theories and methodologies that are relevant to the ministry specialty. Describe philosophy and methodology for a ministry specialty. Demonstrate pastoral competency in the practice of the specialty. So that means I have to touch those points and the topic I'm gonna choose. That's what I'm understand.
And you have a project. Let me keep looking to see if there's a greater description of the project.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell the grief. I spoke about the grief.
Okay. 5.18.
5.1a.
18. 5.18.
Yes. Okay.
A level 2 project consultation focusing on a special project. The student will prepare a current learning goal statement. Da, da, da. We got all that. You've done all that. For their level 2 project, including but not limited to the theories and the methodologies, formulate and apply their philosophy and methodology, and demonstrate pastoral spiritual competence in the practice of the specialty. These materials must be made available for the consultation. We already said we're not doing that. Okay. So yeah, it's a specific, I'm continuing to look. So it's a specific project that you might do. So for example, Lisa's project was she identified, she used a book to help her congregation identify experiences in their narrative that informed how they acted now in the church. And she had
Okay.
a consultation and she set up a whole project to do that. The project of the student of another student was they realized that they have lots of things they give to patients. They have stress balls, they have um, booklets, they have all kinds of resources they pass out to patients, but they don't have any resources that they can give to staff in times of crisis. So they created something that they could
Okay.
give to staff. I think it was a star or something like that. So that was their project. They saw this, they assessed the need, they came up with an intervention, they tried it, and then they evaluated.
Okay.
I'm still looking to see if there's a description or more detail, because ideally what happens is you have the consultation, we have the conversation about it, and
Uh-huh.
hey, this is what I'm thinking of doing, and then we talk about it and we go, okay, that's your project. That'll be great.
Yeah, see, we were talking about. I've been reading a book about grief,
That's fine. I
about
work.
the way I help the people, the resources I give it to them for process the grief and all the stuff I'm been going through.
I think
That's what was your suggestion about it.
I think that would be a great project. So
Yeah,
it
because I so hold on, because I remember when I helped the nurse about how she can process the grief, come out the idea because I approach and I see a need, and I had the nurse give it to her some breathe uh, moment, to she can calm down because she has to process that grief moment, and I have to add that to the staff, when they had that need, when they are crossing those traumas, the moment of grief, when they lose a passion, when they get freeze or something like that, and I help her to process that moment. And I touch her shoulder, and she come alive again. And I think that was the moment when you tell me about I can be in that process. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make something about the green moment there.
I think that'll be excellent. And so then what we read in 5.18, 518
Yes.
about methodologies, the theories and all of that, that's those are the things you would make sure you cover. I think that's a great specialty. Grief.
Okay. Grief. Okay. Perfect.
Excellent.
All right.
You don't have to have it done for the mid unit, but you'll have it done for the final.
Okay. I will do that.
I think that's a
Yeah.
great idea. And if you, from time to time during IS, want to consult about it as you try to put together all the components, we can do that.
Okay.
That's a
Perfect.
great specialty. Grief is an excellent choice.
All right. Perfect. I will do that.
Okay,
And I'm
great.
gonna start my project.
Okay,
So okay, I'm clear. All the points I have it and all the thoughts I have in my mind regarding
very
the
good.
way the way I have to do the meeting, the study. I can breathe.
Good. Breathe well.
Yeah, I can breathe.
And for what you're wanting to do in chapters 1, 2, and 3, I want you to think of it. I'm going to invite us tomorrow to not think of it as a 5-minute presentation, but rather to think of it more like a didactic. And you want to take the time to teach those pieces so that everyone can understand, ask questions, have conversation, and get a good handle on the part you present.
Oh,
So
okay.
take your time. You'll have more. I'm going to propose tomorrow that we have more than 15 minutes apiece so that
Yeah.
we can spend some time with it and we're not rushing through it.
Yeah, and that way that we can give it to them or to us a good presentation, a good knowledge, a
Yeah,
good teaching about how we can handle, how we can approach, how we can establish or integrate it or on a pastoral care those principles,
yeah,
which is going to be good for us. Yeah,
absolutely.
I like the idea,
Okay,
and that way everybody is going to understand about the meaning of the book,
that's right. That's right.
about the intention of the book.
Yes, very
Yeah,
good.
I like the idea.
It's a good book. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that covers everything you wanted to talk about?
Yes, that covers everything I have in mind. All
Okay.
my worries
Okay.
that cover everything. So
Very
now next week you wanna came, or it's gonna be yeah,
yes.
it's gonna be next
Yeah.
week, right?
I'm
Next Monday.
call Chelsea because she said she was going to reply to my email to confirm it, but she said the date was fine and make sure. But yep, that's why I'm planning to be there to hang out with you.
Yeah, okay. I'm
I-
waiting for that.
I'll
So
go.
how is gonna be the plan? You're gonna be
The
here?
plan is I'll come to the hospital, I'll meet with her first, and then I'll go and observe you, and then we'll go somewhere and talk about what we observed and anything else you want to bring up. And that will be our IS session for that,
Yeah.
and that'll be it.
At what time you planning to be here?
What do you think? What's a good time? I think I should get there early.
Okay.
Yeah. When do you arrive?
I get into the hospital at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. And I don't know when Chelsea arrives.
Chelsea get at 8 o'clock in the morning also.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna be there at 8 o'clock then.
All right.
And I'll
Perfect. You
confirm with her too.
you can have the meeting with her. I don't
Yes.
think it's gonna take more than 30 minutes.
No more than 30 minutes.
Then we're gonna go to see the patients. If you
Yep.
like it. And after that, we can take a breakfast and
Okay.
discuss
Okay.
all the points.
I
How
love
soon is that?
That'll be great. That's what we'll do. So I'll
Yeah.
see you at 8. Excellent.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
or if you don't have anything else you want to discuss, we can stop here. But I did have one thing I wanted to share. Did you
Yeah.
have anything else? Okay. So I just wanted to give you some additional feedback when you were sharing about uh, Alice's verbatim. When she
Uh,
finished, it was a long verbatim, and she talked about the instruction. And you made the point. You said, "Hey, this is pastoral care. This might what my I might do this as a pastor. I
yeah.
wouldn't do this as a chaplain." And I thought
Uh,
it's a very good point. And um, I was hopeful for her to hear that because she's at a different level. You're at
yeah.
further, but it was a good observation. Wasn't an easy thing to say, but I'm so glad you did, and I just wanted to affirm that. And I appreciated the way you were pointing out the difference. So, and I just would encourage you to take up more space and time and make it clear. Yeah, it was good feedback. Very good.
Yeah. Thank you because and the growing age, I put that point on here. You know,
Yeah. And you did it
I
well.
put the line between a chaplaincy and pastoral care is too thin. So her growing age is to find
Yeah.
the line.
Very good. Very good.
I
So
use
thank you.
put that line and her growing age, for the mid.
Yeah. And if she asks you to say more about that, please do, because you know what it's like to need to hear feedback to help you grow.
Yeah, this is interesting because I made the same mistake at the beginning.
Yes.
And Juan point me that view and say that to me. So I'm being available to transmit her with
Yes.
that huge her,
Yes.
use be kind, be the point that exalt, you are a pastor, it's great. It's this and my statement, I put, you're a great pastor, a passion woman, women of faith, women of principles. So, and I, because she is, but okay, she has to grow in the area,
Yes.
I'm
So
not,
good.
but also a point because it's hard for her because it's her chef.
And you know that you went
Yeah,
through. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So this is
yeah,
a wonderful collaboration, an opportunity to share from your experience, and your feedback was very good.
and you know what? I think a lot to say that to her, and I'm being in my mind reflection. How can I say that without her feeling that I've been persecuting her? And since she's telling the verbarium, and I see that in her verbarium, I was thinking, how can I do that to put her in the position as a chaplaincy? And thanks God that He
Yeah.
gave to the grace and the words to
Yeah.
use to share with her.
Yeah. And you drew from your experience, which is great.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I
yeah.
just wanted to
Thank you,
celebrate
thank
that with you. Thank
yeah,
you.
thank you for allow us, to do that,
Yeah, it
for
was
let
beautiful.
us the time to to express
Yeah.
and for correct us sometimes because sometimes we say things that we have to be corrected. And
Right.
think it's because you have the courage to correct us in that moment and in a good way because you have the grace of God in you and we respect you because we know that
Yeah.
you know the system, you know what you're doing right now.
Yeah. I
And
appreciate.
I can see that you are in, you are in with all your mind
Well,
there with us, with
thank
all
you.
your heart. And I can see it. And I just want to affirm that to you.
Well,
And
thank you. Yeah.
I writing something down about this, the great experience I've been having with you in
Good.
this semester and the challenging,
Yeah.
because with Juan, he's a man, he speaks Spanish.
Yeah.
It's kind of more easy for me when I don't have words. I ask in Spanish to him. I send a message to Zoom in Spanish only to him. He say, "Yeah, I don't understand this," and he explained me
Hmm.
in English and this kind of conversation also as is an Spanglish conversation,
Yeah. Yeah. That's different.
and helped me a lot. And in the beginning, I was talking with my wife and I said, you know what, this is gonna be hard for me. Why? Because Juan is not gonna be my teacher. Is gonna be Dana, and and I'm gonna be available to speak Spanish anymore. So it's gonna be so challenge for me. So in the beginning, I been so kind of stressful, worry, I have some fear, and I thought I'm not gonna make it, but I'm gonna step in,
Hmm.
and little by little, I'm being, understand more,
Yeah.
and it's nice because I understand you,
It
and
is
that's
nice.
the point. I understand you,
Yeah.
even though sometimes I cannot explain myself the way I want it. I understand very clear, and it helped me a lot.
Yeah. And I'm learning too. I'm learning too. I'm learning some things. I'm going, I didn't know that. Thank you. So we're helping
Yeah,
each other. That's great. Yeah.
yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you, Dana.
All
Appreciate it.
right. I will see you tomorrow.
Okay, see you.
Take
Bye.